Hey everyone, so today I have a book review for you on Sisters Red by Jackson Pearce. It was published in 2010 by Little Brown & Company. It is in the young adult genre and it has 324 pages. Let us talk about the cover first. I do like this cover. It's not a stunning cover in my opinion, but it does have a simplicity to it with the colors and the contrast of the black and the red and the white, and it does describe the story. One of my components in reviewing is that the cover of the book does describe something or reveal something about the actual story. And I think that this cover really does describe the story and the connection between Rosie and Scarlet March and the overshadowing of the Fenris on their relationship. This thing here is the Fenris. Sisters Red is based off of the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood by the Grimm brothers. In relation to the actual fairy tale, Sisters Red is twisted, of course, in modern time, as it is a retelling of the fairy tale. Let's go on to the summary. Scarlet March lives to hunt the Fenris, the wolves that took her eye when she was defending her sister Rosie from a brutal attack. Armed with a razor-sharp hatchet and a blood-red cloak, Scarlet is an expert at luring and slaying the wolves. She's determined to protect other young girls from a grisly death, and her raging heart will not rest until every single wolf is dead. Rosie March once felt that her bond with her sister was unbreakable. Owing Scarlet her life, Rosie hunts ferociously alongside her. But even as more girls' bodies pile up in the city, and the Fenris seem to be gaining power, Rosie dreams of a life beyond the wolves. She finds herself drawn to Scarlet's only friend, Silas, a young woodsman who is deadly with an axe. But does loving him mean betraying her sister and all that they've worked for? Jackson Pearce delivers a dark, taut fairy tale with heart-pounding action, fierce sisterly love, and a sizzling romance. The better to slay you with. Basically, you heard the synopsis, and there is romance in this. There is action. There is sisterly love, obviously, and there is a underlying theme of being true to yourself is a theme in this book. Actually, I didn't mention this, but this is my first Jackson Pearce book that I've read, and I am pleasantly surprised in a way, and I was intrigued by her ability to weave a story within a story and actually twist a fairy tale. Even though it is kind of easy to do that, she did it in a certain way that was very unique, I suppose. The plot is about Rosie and Scarlet March, and they suffer a tragedy in which their grandmother is killed by these Fenris, these werewolves basically, and their lives are made up of hunting down this Fenris that killed their grandmother, and in doing so they protect other young girls from suffering the same fate. As characters, Scarlet and Rosie March are very different. They're basically polar opposites of each other. Scarlet is very stern, determined, overprotective, judgmental, and scarred emotionally and physically. And she basically lives to hunt down these Fenris that killed her grandmother, and she can't get it off her mind. It's like she lives for it. That's her life. Rosie, on the other hand, is the young 16-year-old, very impressionable, very naive, hopeless romantic girl who only dreams of living a normal life outside of hunting the Fenris, and just wants to live life and enjoy what life offers. The story is told through the eyes of Rosie and Scarlet, through their perspective. For example, the book switches from Scarlet's perspective and Rosie's perspective. So it basically flip-flops for each chapter until the last one. As I was reading, it took me a while to get used to because I've never read that in a book before. I've never read that flip-flop of perspectives between two different characters, and I think Jackson Pearce's decision to do that in this book did work well with the plot and helped move the plot along. And if she didn't do that, I don't think people would get the bond between them. In relation to the characters of Scarlet and Rosie, I found that I could relate to Scarlet the most. in the way she acts, in the way she thinks, in the way she says things, in the way she does things. I'm very much like Scarlet. In the beginning, I could not connect with Rosie at all. I thought she was annoying and predictable and, I don't know, too sweet, like, and too naive. I don't know, that's really hard. That's how I felt in the beginning of the book. But as the story as the story progressed, Rosie did grow on me in a way. Another thing that I found interesting about this book in relation to Scarlet and Rosie's characters is that their names really describe who they are. Scarlet is literally scarred physically and emotionally. She's scarred by the tragedy in what she remembers and what she can never forget, in what she went through, and that drives her to do what she does. Rosie, her name, basically, she's delicate, beautiful, innocent, and blissful, but at the same time, she also has thorns in that when she fights the Fenris, she doesn't hold back. So I thought that was very interesting that Jackson Pearce did that with the names of Scarlet and Rosie and incorporated that into the story. I love when that element of incorporating names in relation to the characters and what their personality is. Besides the whole avenging and sibling conflicts, there's also romance in this book, which I didn't really care for in the beginning. Like, it took 250 pages in to really pay attention to the romance, but the romance is between Rosie and Silas. And Silas is a son of a woodsman, and he's a longtime friend of the March family. Silas is also the hunting partner to Scarlet, and he's, he can get any girl he wants, basically, and he's had many girlfriends. Silas is the sort of comic relief, support system, and love interest in this book. I didn't actually warm up to Silas in the beginning. Like I said, I just felt like there were characters to just move the plot along, but I felt like Scarlet was the most complex, so I paid attention to her more than the other characters because I just didn't connect with them in any way. But the romance between Silas and Rosie did feel middle grade to me because it's the typical, oh, boy likes girl, girl likes boy, both of them are too scared to tell the other. So I didn't warm up to their romance in the beginning, but I don't know, after like 200 pages, almost halfway through the book, I did grow to accept them in a way, and I did kind of like them, but I wasn't sold on them. I really wasn't. Rosie and Silas' relationship for me was kind of like climbing a big hill and waiting for the top to come into view. So, onto the Fenris. The Fenris are basically just shape-shifting werewolves, and like in Little Red Riding Hood, they do devour girls. They kill them, basically, and what attracts them, what Fenris are attracted to is the sensuality. Like, it's very... If I see a girl and they're attracted to them, it's like an uncontrollable fever, and they can't control their hunger for them and their desire to eat them. So they're basically very alluring, mysterious, good-looking guys, presumably, that look for pretty girls to eat and kill. And the Fenris, their part in the story isn't just because they're Fenris. I mean, that's part of it, but they're kind of a haunting element in Scarlet and Rosie's life, most especially Scarlet's, because she's haunted by what happened every day of her life, and that's what drives her to kill them. Besides having a hard time getting into the book in the beginning, and the lack of attachment to the characters besides Scarlet, I thought that there was a very good retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. I thought it was very clever. I thought it was unique, and I thought the concept was very interesting. The writing style was interesting and insightful as well, and the messages it presents in relation to sisterly love, friendship, and romantic relationships was very consistent throughout the story. And also the theme of staying true to yourself. The ending was very realistic. It gave plausibility to the characters, and it didn't feel forced or rushed. It was one of those bittersweet endings. That's all I'm going to say. And I really like when books end realistically. There's also some twists in this book. Some of them made me think. Some of them I was a bit shocked by. I mean, only a little bit, because I kind of predicted them. But it's one of those, you think about it, but then the author immediately makes you doubt yourself, and then, oh my gosh, it's right. One of those moments. I don't know if any of you know that. And there are some twists that allowed me to exhale and breathe. So overall, I did enjoy this book. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I did think it was impressionable. I mean, the writing style wasn't fantastic, but I thought it was good enough for the plot to move along as it did. I do think that Scarlett and Rosie's relationship and their relationship as sisters was tested in this book, and I like the progression, I guess. I enjoyed this book. I mean, I didn't love it, and I didn't exactly hate it. So it was kind of like it was a pretty good book. I am definitely looking forward to reading Sweetly next by Jackson Pearce. The link for my Goodreads review will be in the down bar. I hope you enjoyed this review. Even if it may be a little long, I'm sorry. I tried to get out all the points that I wanted to get out. I do recommend this book. If you want to read it, I do recommend that you read it. I mean, it's not a must read in my opinion, but it's a pretty good read, and it does have an underlying of finding out who you are and embracing that and really growing as a person and in your talents, and you know, growing into the person that you want to be, or that you were always meant to be. So I did get something out of this book. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more book reviews and book-related videos. Bye!